Hello and welcome back to the Across the Pod NFL podcast. It's time for a bumper episode as we preview Week 16 in the NFL. I am, as ever, your host, Andy Davis, and I'm joined by a very big amount of guests today. Our largest episode of the series. We've got 4 guests as well as myself on today, all coming from the Third and Long podcast. Our first guest is a returning guest, a Ravens fan. With us today is Shane Harris, returning to the show. Shane, how are you?
Andy, once again, as I always say, always a pleasure. And I'm so happy that we've got my boys along for the ride as well.
Yeah, it's nice to have some returning guests, first of all, in Oli Hope. Ollie, how are you?
I am good. Thanks for having me on again, Andy. It's always a blast coming on with you. So I'm excited to preview Week 16.
Absolutely. And of course, the main highlight game we'll talk about right at the end, because it is the last game of the week, will be Ravens Niners. So it's 3 fans of those teams involved in this group, in this podcast today. It should be a crack of an episode, but we do have 2 new guests. First of all, first time on the guest, we've got Phyll Perrins. Phyll, how are you?
I've been told in advance to be in my best behaviour and not make it all about me tonight on the show, but thank you ever so much for having us on the show today, Andy.
Great to have you on. So we've had a fan of the second seed in the AFC, a fan of the 1 seed in the AFC, 2 fans of the 1 seed in the NFC, and a fan of the last seed in the AFC. We got with us today, making his debut on the show, Ollie Butler-Henderson. Ollie, how are you?
Looking forward to being the Patriots on the clock at number 1 overall.
do you think you're with the Panthers winning and with you guys losing on the weekend? Do you think you guys could actually have that 1 seed?
Yes. If it rains a bit more in Carolina, yes.
And with that pick, I'm guessing you'll take Caleb Williams over Drake May?
No, Jaden Daniels.
Interesting. Okay, Heisman Trophy winner. I've never actually seen him play, so I can't really comment. But I always assumed it'd be Caleb Williams who gets the first overall pick.
If he enters the draft.
I don't know what any of you are saying right now.
But I'm a lot higher on Jaden Daniels. I think his movement around, he's Lamar 2.0.
But Jaden Daniels isn't a Belichick quarterback, so it will probably be Drake May because he's the most Belichick-ian.
If he's there,
that's going to be there.
That is true.
So, Ollie, as you are a first-timer, why the Patriots? Out of all the teams you could have picked in the NFL, what made you go with the New England Patriots?
Picking up Madden in 1999 and scrolling through the teams going, I don't know who to pick. England, that'll do.
Oh, fair enough. I assumed it'd be maybe one of the more modern stories of, because of Tom Brady or because of they were good. So it's nice to have that. You weren't maybe a total glory hunter, even though you are a man.
No. He is. He totally is.
I knew this was coming.
Do you have a mute button for that, man? No, I mean, it was like scrolling across. I didn't know. And it's like, New England, that'll do. You know, as you do when you're like young.
25.
Change all the players' names, put your mates in. I was like, I put myself quarterback. I didn't know anything else about that. I didn't know I'll end up playing defensive back in my 30s.
I bet you couldn't believe your luck when the Patriots ended up winning all the Super Bowls. I bet you just couldn't believe your luck when you picked the best team of the last 20 years.
I chose wisely.
Well, as you're proving with Man U as well, maybe it's gone the other way for you now as a sports fan. You've had all those years of Man U winning.
All right. I'm stepping by enough of this. Right, you were lucky against us yesterday. You were lucky to get a draw yesterday. Let's just leave it there.
Were we though? I think
we were lucky.
Yeah,
we were very lucky, mate.
I don't think it was good for either team really. But Phyll, you're the other new guest on the podcast. So you're a 49ers fan. Some will say a closet Raiders fan, but overall you are a 49ers fan.
So a reason why I ended up getting to the 49ers. So I come from like a military family. My mom served in the RAF, and she was stationed in Berlin in the 80s, and she was stationed with quite a lot of Americans. And it was just as when the NFL was starting to come like quite popular over in the UK, and she served with like the Americans that were massive Dallas Cowboy fans. And so my mom started following the Dallas Cowboys. So when I was like a lot younger, and we were watching it on the telly, looking at it in hindsight, my favorite Power Ranger was the Red Ranger, and 49ers wear red and gold. And I just fell in love with like San Francisco, and the boys hate it now, and Shane literally he knows what's coming. But like my favorite ever NFL player is Steve Young, and
I was just mouthing the word Steve Young before you even said it.
And when I was like, again, just in the 90s when they were just coming towards the end of like their their golden years, so to speak, Steve Young was still literally one of the best NFL players. And in the 2000s, like, well, Butler-Henderson was waxing over Drew Bledsoe and the Brady Bunch. I still stuck through with being like the faithful. And like, again, when I went to university and I started playing American football, I played tight end to begin with, and I ended up playing defensive end. It was just when like the Jim Harbaugh kind of was like, he was, we got to the Super Bowl, we got to 2 NFC championship games, and it was kind of good being a good 49er fan again. And then we went through like being rubbish, and then these boys absolutely hate it when we're good again. And just all the time, I just love to just remind them that the 49ers are legitimately the best team in pro football.
I can just imagine your household when the Cowboys play the Niners must be the most tense, nervous,
because I'm like half Geordie, and my family are like half Geordie, half Wolverhampton Wanderers fans. So when Wolves play Newcastle United, it's the Perrins derby, because like literally there's one side of the whole family that are all like proper Newcastle United diehards, and then the other side of the family that are all like Wolverhampton Wanderers fans.
Oh, you must all be very depressed being Wolves and Newcastle fans.
Why? We're 7th in the league. We're above Manchester United. It's fine.
Oh, see, that's all about
that's not hard, though. That's not
that's your trophy. That's your trophy, that is.
That's like saying being better than the Patriots.
We are.
Everyone is. Duke's beat home Colts better than the Patriots.
That's why he needs to follow a league team, because you can just then rinse everyone about how bad their football teams are, because you accept that you're rubbish.
Yeah. That is fair. That is fair. So we are here to predict the winners of Week 16 in the NFL. This is an earlier than normal recorded episode. It is coming out on the Wednesday, but we're filming it on the Monday, so we can't yet reveal what the scores are from last week when Paul Hope came on, because we have got one game left to go, which it is tonight. So we will reveal those later on in the week. So the first game is probably one of the least exciting games of the week. On Thursday night, shock horror, as the Rams take on the Saints. We'll go to Oli Hope first. Who's winning this game?
So I have a burning hatred for the Rams, obviously, because I'm a 49ers fan. However, despite them both being 7-7, I feel like the Rams are on a bit of a roll at the moment. Matthew Stafford's balling. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are both great receivers. Kyren Williams is running over every team. So I think the Rams are going to win this, and they're going to win it quite heavily.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Saints are so inconsistent. You don't know what you're getting each week. One week they're good, one week they're absolutely terrible, and I just think the Rams have a bit more for me. We'll go to the other, Ollie, for your prediction for this game.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Baby Hope down there. Sorry, we call him Baby because one of my best friend's wife used to work with him, and he was called Baby Hope.
He's our baby.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Mr. Hope down the bottom. They've both got a 7-7 record. The Rams probably are the better team, I think, in general. So I'm going to go with the Rams to win this one. Kyren Williams and Puka Nacua, both 5th-round pickups, and they're acting like they're 1st and 2nd-round pickups. They're both excellent rookies. Excellent rookies.
Fantastic. I think if it wasn't for, I think, Stroud's probably the favourite to win Rookie of the Year, but I think look at Jordan Addison and Puka Nacua are probably the next best options in that category. Shane, who's winning this game for you?
I gotta go with the boys and yourself, Andy. If the Rams played like they did against the Ravens were lucky to beat them. I thought they played really well, and everyone says so much about the offense. Everyone forgets about Aaron Donald. Everyone forgets about probably the best defensive player of the last 5 or 6 years. So yeah, Rams all the way.
Phyll, is it a clean sweep for the Rams?
No, good God, no. I love it. I love it when teams not just fans turn on their teams, but also turn on their quarterback. 2 weeks ago, Derek Carr was being booed by his own fans, and then the following weekend, he's being cheered. And it kind of made me happy because when I see Derek Carr cry and his eyeliner starts like running down his face, it makes me feel quite sad for him because I quite like Derek Carr. And I really can't bring myself to saying anything nice about Stat Padford, so I'm not going to say anything nice about the Rams. But I think the Saints have something legitimate to play for. I mean, their division is wide open, so to speak. And I think the two teams that got really, really good momentum, but I'm just not going to say the Rams are going to win. I'm going to go Saints.
Interesting. I never would have thought a month ago we'd have two NFC South teams in the playoffs right now. I think the Saints got the 7th seed and the Buccaneers winning the division. So that's something that I think it says more about the NFC than the actual division. That's not a good look there. But we move on to Saturday at 9:30 p.m. in the UK. That'll be 4:30 p.m. in the Eastern time. Christmas Eve, as the Pittsburgh Steelers host the Bengals. For me, I think this is quite easy. The Steelers are just in a rut right now, and the Bengals have got some hope without Burrow. So for me, it's quite easy. Bengals win. Go back with you, Phil. Who's winning this game for you?
So news came out that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be starting Rudolph the Pick Six reindeer, and I don't like the Steelers. Sorry, I don't like the Steelers.
You and me both.
So I'm going to go with the Bengals because I just think Browning is just playing like an angry man. And I said it on the show this past weekend before they played. Was it the Vikings the weekend? That he's playing like a man possessed. Now, Joe Burrow is going to come back in next season and be the starting quarterback for the Bengals. But Jay Browning, is he going to be happy being number 2? We've seen, in previous seasons where a quarterback has played really, really well when someone's gone down. It happened with Kaepernick. It's happened Bledsoe. It happened previously, like years ago, with like Steve Young and Joe Montana. And Browning's probably playing to see where he's going to end up next year, because there's going to be like a few teams that are going to be looking at potentially bringing in a quarterback and not necessarily drafting. So Browning's got them playing really, really well. They've got such huge momentum. They look good. They haven't really lost a beat in the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to go with the Bengals over the Steelers.
Yep, certainly him and Gardner Minshew are going to be two backups that are going to be, you would think.
Whoa.
Very.
Don't go into Minshew. Do not go into Minshew.
Andy, have you
Our
not learned?
beloved Gardner Minshew. He is better than 75% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. Philip,
It's true.
am I correct or not?
Well,
Lamar
that's not
Jackson's
true, is it? That is
It
not
is true.
Thank you. Somebody else has seen sense.
Well, I think he's definitely earned the right to be a starter. But I wouldn't say he's better than 3/4 of the league. Well, maybe right now,
Easy, of course he is.
all the starters are injured. Maybe he is now, but
You've got the elite 5 other than that.
Shane, first of all, what's your beef with the Steelers? I heard you express some rage towards.
Yeah. You see this here, right? You see this here. When you don those colours, when you follow that team, when you bleed purple and black, you have an inner hatred for those towel-spinning, stupid people. Thank you. Yeah, it's not my show. I'm not going to swear on it.
That was brilliant. Shane, who's winning this game for you?
Oh, well, as I said on our show on Thursday night, the Bengals, with a decent quarterback, are a very dangerous team. They've got Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Drew Sample as well, who's he's an underrated weapon, but a weapon nonetheless. Yeah, I'm going Bengals all day.
And finally, to the two Ollies. First of all, we'll go for the older Ollie of the two, Ollie Butler-Henderson. Who's winning this game for you?
I prefer Wiser.
You prefer Greyer.
Well, yeah, I'm greyer than all you lot put together. A lot more hair than the gentleman to my left. Yeah, I mean, I think we're still at T. Higgins' catch and touchdown on a Saturday night, But I do think they're going to be turning off Rudolph's red nose, and it's going to be a Bengals win.
Yeah, I mean, that catch for me is, I think, the best I've seen I think it's the best I've seen along with Justin Jefferson's last year of the last probably 5 years. I think it's the best we've seen probably since Odell Beckham. It was such an unbelievable catch. Finally, Baby Hope, your prediction for the game.
I'll make it unanimous. Usually when we have unanimous on this podcast, they go and lose.
Yeah,
but
they do.
I've got Cincinnati winning this. Jake Browning is having a great, second half of the season. And although the Steelers' defense is good, I don't think their offense is good enough, especially with Mason Rudolph as quarterback.
Yeah,
Mason Rudolph will be safe because obviously he's not playing the Browns and Myles Garrett, so he's safe.
Yeah, so safe from flying helmets.
Yeah, absolutely. This game, I think, again, is one that might be quite easy to predict. But I'm begging you, if you are listening to this podcast, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, please beat the Bills. I don't ask for much for Christmas. I've asked for a new jumper, but this is one thing I want more. It's the Bills to lose this game at Christmas time because I can't. My birthday's on that final Sunday of the season, so I have to go to my birthday and have Arsenal, Liverpool, and then Bills, Dolphins for the AFC East. My heart's not going to take it, so I'm begging, can the Bills please lose and we beat the Cowboys? It's Bills against Chargers in LA.
Ready for you.
I think the Bills win this season. I'm hoping, with Staley gone, it might give them a little bit of bounce, but overall, I think that the Bills are just right now. I'd probably say the second best team in the AFC right now on counting form. They've been that good since Ken Dorsey got fired. So for me, Bills win easily. Back with you, Ollie Hope. Who's winning this game?
So I've been banging the drum all season that Staley needs to go.
I've been banging. Sorry, boy. I couldn't help it. Sorry, go on.
And now Staley has gone. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. The Bills are one of the informed teams at the moment in the NFL, and I think the Bills win this easily, like they did against the Cowboys.
Yeah, and I think Chargers gave away all those points against the Raiders last week. I think that Chargers defense is struggling right now, and I think that they got the players to do it, but I just don't think against a Bills team that they're gonna do too much. I think they'll ultimately lose again. Phyll, for your prediction for this game.
I am a big Josh Allen fan, and I'm a big fan of Josh Allen's family, and I'm a big fan of Josh Allen's upbringing. The Bills are hitting their stride accordingly in going into the end of the season, the business end of the season. I predicted that they would beat the Cowboys last weekend, and they did, and they embarrassed the Cowboys. And you're talking now about a Chargers team who were embarrassed. They had their pants pulled down on national TV by the Raiders, and the Raiders stood there and laughed. The Bills are infinitely a better team than the Raiders. We can all universally agree on that. I can't see anybody else but the Bills coming out with it, and Josh Allen looking like an MVP.
Yeah, absolutely. Shane, for your prediction for this game.
For those of you that don't know, this wonderful, wonderful man and host of this show, Mr. Andy Davis, has been to every single NFL stadium that there is, all 32, which is one hell of an achievement. The beautiful piece of headwear that I'm wearing on my head is directly from M&T Bank Stadium, a place where I will probably never, ever go. And just for the fact that he got me this for my birthday in October means the world. And I've said to my partner, if the house burns down, I'm taking this and everything else can burn. For that fact, I'm going to go with the Chargers. Just because, because it's nice for Andy.
Well, I hope you are the one who's right here, because that would make my Christmas week if we were to beat the Cowboys and you were to beat the Bills. Because I think if they lose the Chargers and we beat the Cowboys, that's the division wrapped up. I believe my math is right. So I think if the Chargers do get the win, I'll be going into that Sunday, that Christmas Eve, with a lot of hope in my heart, as the back of my wall will suggest. Finally,
pardon the pun.
Ollie, Butler-Henderson, for your prediction for this game.
Sorry, I'm going to be hoping you don't have a heart attack on your birthday. Ever since Josh Allen had his haircut, he seemed to have resumed his powers. They found a run game. They found out that Josh Allen doesn't need to make every single play a highlight reel, and it's working, unfortunately. And I'm glad I'm not going to Buffalo on New Year's Eve, because I don't really want to see us all get absolutely pummeled. So I am going for a Buffalo win, and James Cook is a brilliant running back, and he's going to put up another 100+ yards again.
Oh, amazing. I would mention this on our next episode, but I actually fell asleep on Sunday and missed pretty much the entire of the second lot of games, which is unlike since COVID. I woke up and it was like the Bills are winning by so many points. I need to actually watch those highlights. And when I saw a stat line, I just couldn't believe just how many yards he put up. And I saw my fantasy team and I was like, hey, this is even better. So, good times. So heading on to the Sunday slate, the first lot of games of 6 p.m. is in Atlanta as the Falcons host the Colts. Again, I think a pretty easy one for me. I think even with the Falcons still battling for division, I just think that ultimately the Colts are too strong for them. So for me, Colts win this. Ollie Hope, over to you for your prediction.
Okay, so it's been well documented on our podcast that although I'm not a big fan of Gardner Minshew, I think him and the loaded Colts offense will have too much for the Falcons. And let's not forget the Falcons did lose to Carolina last week.
Yeah, I mean that game was terrible, man. I don't know if you do the DraftKings thing where you had to get a touchdown score of every team to win money or something, and it was them and the Jets were two teams I missed out on. So yeah, that was terrible. And 45p per ticket as well. So no one really turned up for either. So all around a terrible game. Shane, for you, who's winning this one?
Mr. Perrins, I would like to call you in for a co-vote on this one, if you don't mind.
I want a collective answer.
Oh, we can give you a collective answer. Philip, when you're NWO, you are NWO.
For life.
Thank you very much. NWO. And in that vein, we do push, as you can tell, with Hollywood Gardner Minshew's notes ringing around this podcast. We, of course, will go for the, as I said before, one of the top 75 quarterbacks in this league, Mr. Gardner Minshew, Esquire, the owner of the most glorious mustache in professional football.
Oh my God, he's so beautiful.
They do this every week.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys are still with him on the podcast.
There's a great button. It's called mute.
Where is that on my thing?
Such a scab.
There's also another button we tend to use, which is remove.
Yeah, that I can see that as well. Phil, I'm guessing you're also the Colts on that similar thing.
Yeah, I just want to take like massive exception to Baby Hope for a second, because he said like the loaded and stacked Indianapolis Colts offense. Now, not overlooking the fact that how great Minshew is, because he would start for most teams in the NFL that aren't San Francisco, Baltimore, Chiefs, Eagles. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. But like this is a Colts team. This is a Colts offense, right? That doesn't have their number one overall pick in the draft this year. They were playing without Jonathan Taylor, and did anybody see Pittman get absolutely mollered like on a hit? So to say that these Colts team that are supposed to be like the Houston Texans in a rebuild, they're massively overachieving. And Minshew is literally spearheading that now. He's a momentum type player. He's a momentum type player when he was in Jacksonville, the brief stint when he came in last year for Hurts in Philadelphia. So, but he's literally leading this team. So I'm going to go with the Colts.
Yeah, I can see that as well. And Ollie, clean sweep?
Yeah, it's hard to look away, isn't it? I mean, Desmond Ridder could have literally sewn up that game on Sunday night against Atlanta, and he threw the most ridiculous pick going. And I watched Mac Jones for half a year this year, so you know.
Yeah, I mean,
even when Pittman got absolutely bent in half and was rightly ejected for that game, they still found targets. You know, they have their third and fourth string running backs literally running through the Steelers O-line. Was it Steelers O-line? Yeah, it was Steelers O-line, wasn't it? And still managing to literally turn points over, put 30 points on the Steelers. So yeah, I'm going for Indianapolis.
Okay, and we've mentioned Carolina. They're hosting a game once again. Whether it be 45p again, I'm not sure for a ticket, but they host the Packers. And for me, again, I think it's another easy one. I think the Packers will beat the Panthers fairly convincingly. We'll stick with you, Ollie, Butler-Henderson. For your thoughts on this game and who's going to
win? You won't be having 45p tickets in this game because the Packer fans travel, and they travel well. We saw them when they came over here. Yeah, the amount of fans they had over here. Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Bryce Young. Bryce Young sometimes feels like he's a deer in the headlights. completely startled. The wide receivers in Green Bay are now coming to play. Jalen Reed, Christian Watson's son have come back to it. I'm going for a Green Bay win. I can't see Carolina winning another game this season.
No, I totally agree. Other Ollie, what's your prediction for the game?
So the Panthers have looked better since they got rid of Frank Reich, who is another coach that I've been banging the drum to get sacked. However, I feel
But you're
like
fun at picking lines, aren't you?
at the moment, all the Packers need is love, and the Packers will win this quite convincingly.
Shane, your prediction?
Ordinarily on our show, when I mention Green Bay and I think they're going to win, I go into some sort of amateur, very well sung karaoke containing the word love. But since we are pressed for time, yeah, Green Bay for the win.
Okay, and finally, Phyll, is it a clean sweep for the Packers?
No, no.
What do you mean no?
No, I'm going to go with the little Carolina that could. I'm going to go. There's no reason behind it. They have shown me not really anything to suggest that they will win this game. But damn it, I want to go with Carolina.
Okay,
there is a reason why Phil's bottom of our prediction league in the podcast.
Yeah, because like the first half of the league, I was not since I've been like hyper focused. I've cut the lead down so much that you guys get proper salty about it now. You get proper salty about it.
Don't forget, in our fantasy league, you did go 0-15.
Yeah, because I kept getting rid of my players after I realised that I wasn't going to do anything. So I was just going.
That was next year.
I was just like trading them away just for like willy nilly.
Next up is a game between a team that Shane's team snaked in the 90s in the Cleveland Browns as they go to the Houston Texans. Middle go to
nice.
Your prediction.
You want to start with me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This game worries me because we haven't locked up the AFC North yet. As of this recording, with 2 games in front of the Browns, with 3 games left to play each. We could still concede the AFC North to the Browns. With Joe Flacco playing really well at the moment. Of course, I'll always push for Super Bowl winning quarterback Joe Cool.
She one of the worst ever starting quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl, just to put it out there. And
I have a minute now.
Trent Dilfer, even worse.
The great Trent Dilfer. We're all big fans of Trent Dilfer on the show. Yeah, I want the Texans to win, but I think the Browns will win.
So you Texans or the Browns, Adam, you seem to give them both teams there.
I want the Texans to win, but I think the Browns will win. Yeah.
Yep. For me, I've got 2 horses in the race. I mean, I want both teams to win. I want both to get more wins than Buffalo. But I do ultimately think the Browns will win because I think even if Stroud is back to health, whether he's back to fully being the guy he was before, I don't know. A bit like Trevor Lawrence after his injury recently. So for me, that Cleveland defense alone will win this game for them. But I think they've got a great run game as well. So for me, Browns win this. Ollie, Butler-Henderson, over to you for your prediction.
I am going to disagree with you.
Hey.
Not that it is. Yes, agreed. Cleveland Browns defense is very, very good. Their offense is okay. Joe Flacco's doing okay, but he is finding the opposition quarterbacks more than his own wide receivers at the moment.
Sick burn.
The Texans, they've shown without Tank Dell, without Nico Collins, without CJ Stroud, they managed to beat the Titans. Yeah, the Titans aren't Cleveland Browns, don't get me wrong. But we will have CJ Stroud back. Nico Collins will probably be back this weekend as well. Pierce is still out there. Singletary, the cornerback, is superb. They've got enough to win this game out, I think. So I'm going for a Texans win.
And Phyll, for your prediction.
Because of how I feel about Deshaun Watson, I don't like saying anything positive about the Browns. And even though Joe Flacco is having a 5th chance
Renaissance you're looking for? Renaissance is the word you're looking for?
Well, it's fifth renaissance. I mean, most people his age are looking for picking up their pension. He's looking for some reason for an extra paycheck. I don't begrudge him; he's doing all right. But I do agree with Hendo. He is finding opposition defensive backs more so than his own wide receivers, and I think it's a little bit deceiving with how well he's playing. We love D'Amico in the Bay. I think he's doing a fantastic job for the Texans, and I think it'll be tight. I just think the Texans' offense is better than the Browns' offense, and I think that will win. The Browns have a fantastic defense. I think the Texans have a pretty decent defense, but it'll be low scoring, but I'm going to go with Texans.
Okay, finally, Ollie Hope, your prediction.
So the two big factors, I think, for this game is the health of CJ Stroud and the health of Will Anderson Jr. And I believe they're both going to be back this week. So therefore, I am going to predict the Texans to beat the Browns and agree with Phyll that I do think it will be quite a low-scoring affair.
Interesting. Next up, I think could be a quite high-scoring affair as the Vikings take on the Lions in Minnesota. Phyll, you first. Who's winning the game?
I'm going to go with the Lions. I said again, my crystal ball about how the Lions were going to perform the weekend. I said because they got more or less embarrassed the weekend before, they don't tend to let it happen. Multiple back-to-back games, and they absolutely demolished the weekend. The Vikings are such a mid-level team that they've got no direction because, when Cousins went down, their season was kind of over because none of their backups were good enough to keep them going. I don't rate, there was the Pastronaut and then there's Picnic. They're kind of like rudderless. Whilst the Lions, I still think their defense is very inconsistent, and when Goff plays well, Goff is fantastic. But I think even if he has a dodgy game, I think the Lions have just enough to beat the Vikings.
Okay, and Ollie Hope, your prediction for the game.
So Nick Mullins in San Francisco under Kyle Shanahan, which Purdy and Garoppolo flourished in, was 5-21. And living through that, I can just never ever put my faith in Nick Mullins to win a football game ever.
Yeah.
So I have to pick the Lions because Picnic is just not at the right level as an NFL quarterback.
Enough. That's why I've gone for the Lions as well. I just don't think the quarterback situation there is all good in Minnesota. I think the Josh Dobbs honeymoon phase was certainly over with quite quickly. So yeah, Lions for me as well.
2 weeks. It literally was 2 weeks. He had 2 weeks of really, really good games, but then a good NFL defense. We'll be able to watch the film and literally pick him apart. And as soon as that happened, he has looked bad. He's looked every bit bad that he was before he went to Arizona at the start of the season.
Absolutely. Shane, your prediction for the game?
Not being funny, but Nick Mullins couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. In all honesty, we are big fans of Dan Campbell on the pod. We all love him. We all think he's brilliant. And again, the Vikings have got two good players, JJ and Daniel Hunter. After that, there's nothing there. And the Lions, of course, I think they'll definitely beat the Vikings.
Ollie, Henderson, clean sweep.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. The Lions got ripped apart for picking out Jamal Gibbs, Sam Laporta, and the linebacker Jack Campbell in the first couple of rounds. And all three of them are having stellar seasons. Sam Laporta is an outside chance for offensive rookie of the year. I don't think it's going to happen because CJ Stroud's done enough. He is probably going to be the next generation of elite tight ends. Jameer Gibbs proved why he was picked up at 12. Overall, even Picnic's son was bored of watching him on Saturday night. If anyone saw that, he was literally there playing with his tablet, not watching his dad. So I am going for the Detroit Lions, not just to please Ella.
We're going to skim through a few games now, just quickly give predictions. The 4 games are the Commanders going to the Jets, Seahawks at the Titans, Jags at the Bucks, and the Cardinals at the Bears. I'm going for wins for the Commanders, Seahawks, Bucks, and the Bears. Ollie, Hope, back to you. Who is winning those 4 games for you?
I agree with you on all 4 of those, Andy. My predictions are exactly the same.
Okay, and the other Ollie, your predictions for this?
Will Levis got high ankle sprain, so he's out. So that's going to be Seahawks win. Jets are going to want to put that ugly goose egg away. So that's going to be a Jets win against a poor Commanders team. Jags are going to probably be without Trevor Lawrence. So that's going to be a Buccaneers win. Baker Mayfield is having a second coming again. Mike Evans, he's guaranteed 100 yards a game near enough. Gentlemen, Cardinals, Bears?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Cardinals put 29 points up on those lot last night.
Yeah,
the
they look
49ers
good.
last night. Washington, Chicago are, and that's putting it nicely. Justin Fields is a mere quarterback. I'm going to have the Cardinals pick up their 4th win of the season.
Hey, interesting. Shane, for your 4 predictions.
I completely disagree with my old buddy, the bottle of red wine himself, Mr. OBH. I genuinely think Justin Fields is a really good quarterback, and I think at a better team, he would be a star, 100%. And I think the Bears are going to beat the Cardinals, even though the Cardinals did put up a fight. They did have a bit of a puncher's chance against the so-called best team in football last night. Jags played well against the Ravens last night. I'm going for a Jags win. The only loser I can see in the Commanders Jets game is the fans, in all honesty. But then I'll go with the Jets because, as Ollie said, I'll agree with him on this one. That goose egg did not look good. But Robert Saleh is super annoyed. So I think the Jets will win that one. And was there another one?
Yeah, Seahawks Titans.
Oh, Seahawks all day. If Gino's back, they've got a really good offense. You're chuckling at now.
Oh, sorry. I'll tell you when it comes to me.
Go on. You'll go now, Phil.
Oh my God. All right, it's 2023 and we're talking about Geno Smith. And we go, if Geno's back, Geno is not that great, okay? He is one of the quarterbacks that Gardner Minshew would eclipse if given the opportunity on the team. I don't rate Geno whatsoever. However, having watched the Tennessee Titans play live, and we've documented on our show before, like with me and Hender, we were just sitting there literally calling the plays as they happened, like how they'd line up. We were literally calling the plays, and lo and behold, it was the exact play that we called. They're not that great. So I think the Seahawks, with or without Geno, have enough to beat the Titans. The Titans, again, such a lower level team in the NFL this year. They're not the worst, but they're by no means the goodest. Goodness, that's horrible, Graham. You can tell it's Christmas.
The goodness. You're a teacher, you are, Jesus.
Is I teach a practical subject, mate. Is Aaron Rodgers scheduled to try and play?
I don't think. I think now they're out. I think they're just going to leave. I think if he'd beaten us, he may have played, they said, but I don't think he'll play now.
That's such an Aaron Rodgers thing to do. If we still have a chance, I'll give it a go. But if we're not going to bother, I'm not going to try. I think the Jets. Again, Zach Wilson's playing for his future somewhere else. It's not going to be in New Jersey. But I think Zach Wilson, even on games where the Jets have been bad, he has not been the worst part of that team. Even yesterday, I watched the highlights this morning, gents, and I felt really sorry for Zach Wilson because his offense is just like a conveyor belt, isn't it? It's literally just letting people through. It's like his O-line is like a security check at like a Sunday League football game. Like it's literally just like pat them down, let them go through. I felt really bad for him. So I'm gonna go with the Jets. And then I'm going to go with, I actually been really, really disappointed with Trevor Lawrence this year. I think even with him out, it's not going to make much difference, even if he played. And I'm going to go back with the under Baker, because Tampa, again, have something to play for, and they're kind of going head and head against the Saints for that pitiful division. Cardinals play really well against us. The Bears are the Bears, but the Bears, the two teams aren't really playing anything. But the Cardinals played really well against us. I was really surprised with how much they put on our defense. However, we missed 16 tackles, which was our season highest in the league this year. But I think the Cards are better than the Bears, even with their defense like Deontay Sweat. So I'm going to go with Cards.
Okay, and now for one of the games, what I'm looking forward to the most, well, I say looking forward to, with a lot of nerve and trepidation, but either way, should be a cracking game for the neutral. Two of the best teams, if you look at their home records this year, in the Dolphins taking on the Cowboys in Miami. Now, My head says Cowboys because we can't beat a good team, and my heart says the Dolphins.
North and Dallas.
And that's why I'm going for the Dolphins, because I think both teams are amazing at home. When they're up against it on the road, when there's things aren't going their way, they struggle. So I think purely for the fact that we are the home team, I think that we beat the Cowboys. But I think if it was in Dallas, I would have that for an easy Dallas win. But I just think at home, we may hopefully end that narrative of not being a good team. We haven't beat a team with a winning record since week 3 of 2022. So we've got a big narrative to try and overcome. Ollie, Hendo, for your prediction for this game.
Oh, he's jumped on my nickname from the podcast.
I know, he's like your buddy now, isn't
he? It's a case of who doesn't want to lose this game. Cowboys don't beat good teams. You don't beat, Dolphins don't beat teams with a winning record. Dallas's record is poor. It's a 3-4. Dolphins' home record is 6-1. I do think having the away fans with the away bench with the sun blistering down them does have an effect on it. I do reckon Tua get picked off at least twice by that Dallas defense.
I think he will. I think he will generally. I can't even ask that.
This isn't me going against Tua. I just think Ron Bland, whatever his name is 8 pick six this season. 8.
Wow. The Butler-Henderson Tua vendetta continues.
And the agenda continues.
Like, honestly, you guys give me so much jip when I talk about how crap Trent Dilfer was as an NFL quarterback. But like the hate that like Gardner Minshew and Tua get from you like is actually sometimes I'm ashamed to be a part of this podcast sometimes with the hate that you guys give Tua and Gardner Minshew. It's diabolical.
Right. Can I finish?
Yes. Can I finish?
But I do think, you can run. You'll run. Mike McDaniels has lots of motions, there's no straight passing. There's lots of motions, a lot of movement. Dallas really struggled with that last night. So I think it's going to be a Dolphins win. Luckily, Dallas already in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's something as well. They probably already got their feet on the sand for now. But again, they still got to go for the division. So I don't know. It's tough, but I think I can see us losing. But I think the fact we're at home, I know we lost to the Titans at home, but I think overall we've been insane at home. I know it's a Jets, but we get shut out on Sunday night or Sunday afternoon. So I think hopefully that game against Titans has given us the kick at the backside that we needed. Shane, for your prediction for this game.
I've been saying all season I don't see anything in the Cowboys. I have no idea how they've done so well. Mike McCarthy's not a fantastic coach. I mean, yeah, CeeDee Lamb is having a fantastic season. He's showing everybody why he was picked so high. Dak is in the MVP conversation. Tony Pollard's been in and out, up and down. I think it all goes on how I think if they can't cover Tyreek, and if Devin Achane has a game, I think you'll win. I really do. I think you were very, what's the word I'm looking for? Underrated, considering the weapons you have. Jalen Waddle, Mostert as well, who's on 20 touchdowns for the year, which is more than most teams combined. Yeah, I'm going for a Dolphins win.
I'm going to disagree with you, Shane. I know I should be saying the same as you as a fan, but I'm a very big pessimist when it comes to sports fandom, and I do think we're quite overrated. I'm not going to lie. Until we beat a good team, what are we going to do? Nothing. We've lost to the Bills, the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Titans. I think until we beat a good team, I don't see us doing anything. But again, I think we've got the players to do it, and I think we've got a team that can beat anyone on our day. But I think everything's got to click. But definitely going into the playoffs with a bit of nerves. Let's put it that way. Phil, for your prediction.
I think you are too negative on yourself now. I don't know whether or not it's the Mike McDaniels connection. I love it. But truth be told, this is not being a 49er fan who universally hates the Cowboys with a passion, but the Cowboys have already played their Super Bowl. They beat the Eagles a couple of weeks ago. That's their Super Bowl. They got embarrassed by us, and I'm not going to keep going on about it, but they were embarrassed by us. They played Philadelphia off the park. Yeah, well, we did the same thing to Philadelphia. But then to back it up after a week of trash talk, they were horrible last night. Like, I cannot stress this enough. They were not good. And this is a good Bills offense. It's a good Bills team as a whole. but like Josh Allen was just running over their elite defense. I think the Cowboys will do exactly what Cowboys have done for 30 years, and they'll flatter to deceive throughout the regular season, being bullies to lesser teams, because that's essentially what they've done. The Eagles, their divisional rivals, were the only real test that they've had this year. They've just beaten bad teams, and they were embarrassed last night. I don't see them really turning this around before they go into the off season. And I said to you guys last night, it was about like when the Bills were like winning, and I said, they're already out. And I think you said, Shane, like they're already in the playoffs. They've already got their feet up. And I went, that's such a loser's mentality if that's the case. Now, I'm not throwing shade at Shane. You're absolutely right, because we know in other sports where teams do the same thing, where they're guaranteed, so they take the foot off the pedal. But if that's how you're going to play before you go into the playoffs, you're one and done again, or you'll get to the divisional round and you'll be done again. I think the Dolphins are a better team as a whole. I think the idea of Dak Prescott being an MVP candidate died last night. And I think Tua is a better candidate I think Tua is a better quarterback than Dak. And I think the Dolphins have more momentum going forward, and it would mean more to them because of what's going on in their conference as a whole. So I'm going to go with Dolphins.
I love that, and I'm hoping it'll be a clean sweep when Baby Hope gives his prediction.
It will be a clean sweep. Unlike the elder statesman of this group, I am very high on Tua and think he's a very, very good quarterback.
Yeah.
And I, being a 49ers
Numbers
fan,
don't lie.
it's sort of ingrained in me to absolutely detest the Dallas Cowboys with every fiber of my being. So I can't predict the Cowboys to win, and I really hope the Dolphins get it done.
Me too.
All I'm saying,
I really hope he comes in on Sunday.
All I'm saying is Tua's not a top 10 quarterback. Like
Doesn't have to
he's
be.
crazy
How
to
can
think.
you say that? How can you look in the mirror and live with yourself and say that?
He is.
How do you
You've
you tuck your children in at night and still say that?
Lie. I'd be a liar.
Hey, Noah agrees with me that Tua's not a good quarterback.
I think he's a top 10 quarterback when Tyreek Hill's playing. When Tyreek Hill isn't playing, he's not even top 15 or 20. I think he really struggles. Then again, against the Jets without Tyreek Hill, but it was against the Jets. So, I'm not completely. I've never been really completely sold on him. I think a bit like Darwin Núñez, to be honest. I think Darwin Núñez frustrates me a lot more than Tua. Darwin Núñez, I
How did he not get sent off last night?
How did he not score that? How did he stop running in that one chance in the box? Anyone who knows me, I really can't stand Darwin Núñez. He frustrates me every single game. But he's got a nice smile, so he gets away with it. Now the next 3 games, I think we should skip over because they're very, very one-sided, easy wins.
Before we do, can we let my old buddy Mr. OBH take the Pats game, please?
The what game?
The Pats game.
Oh, actually, we need to talk about the Chiefs. We need to talk about the Chiefs as well.
So for this one, I think we got Broncos at Patriots. Sorry, Patriots at Broncos, Raiders at Chiefs, Giants and Eagles. I think personally that's 3, for me personally, easy wins. Broncos, Chiefs, and Eagles. But Ollie Hendo, are you saying the same as me?
Tommy DeVito is a great quarterback.
What? What do you say? He's a great quarterback?
Tommy DeVito is outrageous.
Right. I've said this before, Lars, that Tommy DeVito is in the same enigma as Gardner Minshew. He's a cult. How dare you? I'm loving the reaction of these two. He is a cult. He'll be forever known as a brilliant backup around this league and do the job around the league. He's a great backup. The Eagles defense will probably take that Giants defense apart or offense apart. Yep. So that's the Eagles win. Chiefs will beat up on the Raiders, even though the Chiefs weren't that good against us. And if we score more than 10 points against Denver, I would be completely shocked. It'll be a Denver win up in my life.
Okay, Phil, for your predictions.
I'm going to go with Denver because Denver really need to turn it around from their poor performance the weekend. Do you know what? I don't think the Chiefs are all that. I actually thought that the Patriots were really unlucky against. Was it the Chiefs they played? Yeah. I think Kansas are having the worst downturn of luck this year, and I think the Raiders are going to have a lot of swag, and they kind of can dictate what happens in their division. So I'm going to go Broncos, I'm going to go Raiders, and then I'm just going to go with the Eagles because like DeVito is like he is. Oh, he's just the fact that you just said he's a great quarterback as well. I just can't get my head around that. Like you'll bash Tua, but you'll literally praise.
He thinks McCorkle's a good quarterback
I
too.
know how. I
Oh
know
my
what
god!
to
He
say
did
now
think
to wind
McCorkle
these
is a
guys
good
up.
goalkeeper.
It's great.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Eagles. Yeah.
Hey, Baby Hope, your 3 predictions.
Oh, this is catching on now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as much as I'd love to predict the Eagles' loss just to help the Niners get 1 seed, I don't see it happening against the Giants. So Eagles win. The Patriots are a lost cause this season. So let's go Broncos and Chiefs
Right.
Raiders. I do think it will be close, but I'm gonna go Chiefs.
Okay, and then finally, Shane.
My old buddy, Mr. Butler-Henderson, doesn't have much to smile about these days, being a Man United fan, much like myself. But I'm going to put a smile on his face this time, and I'm going to say the Pats are going to beat the Broncos. Why not? Anything can happen any given Sunday. And then I'm going to go with the Eagles and Kelsey and Mahomes and Rashid Rice and everybody else on the Chiefs to beat the Raiders.
Okay, well, here we go. The reason why
come on!
I'm just going to go make a cup of tea, and I'll be back in about 6 minutes.
Ravens against the Niners, of course. There's 3 boys here that support these teams in Phyll, Ollie, Hope, and Shane. Massive game. Both 1 seeds right now. Some are saying Super Bowl preview. I still think Chiefs Niners is, but either way, it should be a great, great game. Might as well go to our first Niners fan first in Phyll. Phyll, how are you seeing the game, and can your team get the win?
Short answer, yes. We are. I wasn't necessarily over the moon with our defensive performance the weekend. And the reason why I'm really, really high on the 49ers and Brock Purdy as whole, because, and Baby will echo this sentiment as well, during the Kyle Shanahan years, we have been dominant because of how great the defense has been. And Jimmy Garoppolo was very much a stop-start quarterback. He very much stunted how great this team on offense can be. It hasn't worked out with Trey Lance. It's working out perfectly with Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy now is he's not even a game manager. He's a game changer. He's a game extender. And he's proving that with every performance that he's played this year. This is why he's a legitimate contender for the MVP this year. And so it's taken that pressure off the defense to go lights out every single down, because even if they concede a field goal or a touchdown, the 49ers score on every drive this season. Like they literally just, it's ridiculous. And we absolutely blow teams away by half time. Now, you can say that Kyle Shanahan is probably one of the best offensive minds in the NFL, but the team as a whole, Brock Purdy as a whole, he's got weapons around him. We just look really, really good. Now, I know Shane is a massive Lamar, wet wipe, and he loves
Lamarck.
And he loves his Ravens, and rightfully so. They're a great team. I think this is our WrestleMania Rock versus Stone Cold moment. This is a prelude to what I think the Super Bowl is. I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC, and I think the 49ers are the best team in the NFL.
Fair enough. Shane, the purple corner over there, who's winning this game for you?
As Mr. Perrins rightfully said, this is the main event of this season. This is the biggest game of the season. You can keep your Cowboys Dolphins. You can keep your Chiefs Bills. This is the biggest game of the season. And on Christmas night, no less, as well. And now I love Mr. Hope and Mr. Perrins. I love my boys to bits, God knows, right? But I'm not going to choose violence now, mainly because we're running out of time. Niners are a fantastic side. They're, as Phyll said again, probably the best team in the NFL. And I've got to support my boys. I've got to do it. I mean, like I said, we saw how they defended against the Cardinals yesterday. If the Cardinals can put up that many points against the Niners, what are a team like ourselves going to do? Do you know what I mean? I got to go for the Ravens. But if you, of course, I will say it now, and Mr. Perrins will back me as well. We are doing a live watch along of the game on Christmas night, 1:20 in the morning. So if you want to bring your mince pies, bring your cans, bring your drinks, bring your prosecco, whatever, come have a party with us, and one of us is going to win, and one of us is going to cry.
Well, if you're wondering by now, I'm a morning bird, so I'll be watching that game at 6 a.m. Not knowing the score, so I won't be there with you. Hopefully, it's a good watch along, and I want to see the highlights of that watch along. Now, our other Niners fan is Oli Hope. Ollie, how are you seeing the game? Who's going to win?
So I'm glad you brought up the fact that the Niners defense didn't play that well against the run, actually, Shane, because I feel like the big reason was the lack of our two interior linemen of Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead. And you'll be glad to know that they are both slated to be back against the Ravens, and I think that will really shore up our defense. I know we're pushed for time, so I'll echo everything Phyll said with the offense clicking: McCaffrey, Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, Juszczyk, even Elijah Mitchell, people like that, all balling. So I feel like, although the Ravens do have a good defense, I feel like our offense might overpower them. And I think it's going to turn into a bit of a shootout. But I think the Niners will win just.
Okay, and then one of our two neutrals, including myself, in you, Ollie Butler-Henderson. Who's winning this game for you?
There's a reason why San Francisco plays so well as their running back. Ravens do have a good run defense, but Christian McCaffrey is different level. I swear this guy's not human. Brock Purdy is having MVP numbers standard season, so is Christian McCaffrey. I don't trust that Ravens defense enough to stop that Niners offense. I'm going for Niners win. Sorry, Shane. I do apologize.
I don't disagree with you, but everything you said's right.
Well, for me, I think if the Niners hadn't had the division and the sort of that and playoff position already confirmed, I'd say them. But I think the Ravens have more to play for, and I just think ultimately, just for the first game after winning the division, they may take their foot off the gas slightly in San Fran. So I'm going to go for the Ravens to win. But I'm hoping the Niners win. That would be an amazing result for me personally. That would really help my game. That would also
anyway. After that,
I've always liked the Dolphins. For Andy, I've always liked the Dolphins.
Well, also it would make that game against the Ravens even more of an exciting one for the neutral if they were to lose, because that would make it literally winner probably gets AFC on New Year's Eve. So should be a cracker. But that is where we'll end the podcast today. So first of all, thank you for all of you for coming on today.
Anytime, my
You're
buddy,
welcome.
Anytime.
I have loved it. Thank you.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on for the first time and having you guys back on as well. This has been the Across the Pod NFL podcast, our Week 16 preview, and we'll see you guys next time.
Niners, baby.